You know, when I first saw this deep dive requests on dog coughs, I kind of thought, oh, this will be easy peasy. But this video from veterinarian Laura London, it's amazing how much depth there is to this topic.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I think we've all lived with dogs who have coughed, and it seems like it's no big deal.
Right.
But she really gets into the nitty-gritty, and she even talks about her own dog who was having a little bit of a cough after being out in the cold.
Yeah.
So it's great. She's got all these visuals of her dog, too.
It does make you realize, like, oh, I shouldn't just dismiss this, right? Like, if my dog is coughing, maybe I should pay attention to this.
Yeah, and, I was really interested in her point about the collars. How much pressure that can put on a trachea.
So true.
That's already irritated.
Yeah.
And she suggests a harness.
Yeah.
As a gentler alternative.
It's one of those things like, why would I ever think of that? Like, I would never have occurred to me, but it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
So she goes through a bunch of different causes of coughs, and it's amazing how many things can trigger them.
There are a lot.
It's not just like, oh, they've got a cold or something.
Yeah, and a lot of them will sound familiar to you because we get them too.
Right.
We're talking infections, bacteria, viruses, even fungi and parasites.
Wow.
And then there's inflammation of the airways.
Okay.
Like bronchitis or pneumonia in humans.
Right.
And of course, we can't forget kennel cough.
Right.
Which is incredibly contagious.
Yeah, that's the one I always worry about. Kennel cough. Oh, no.
Most dog owners experience it at some point.
Yeah.
And
she actually has a whole other video just on kennel cough.
She does. Yeah.
Which we will link in the show notes.
Yes.
One thing that really struck me was her talking about dry versus productive coughs.
Yeah.
Can you explain that a little more?
Yeah, so a productive cough is sort of what we typically picture when we think of a cough.
Oh, okay.
That wet sound.
Right.
Indicating that they're actually coughing something up.
Okay.
So there's phlegm or mucus in there, and their body's trying to clear it out.
Got it.
Whereas a dry cough is harsher.
Okay.
It lacks that mucus.
So it's almost more like a honking kind of sound?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a much harsher sound.
And that can help a vet determine what's going on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can help them pinpoint the potential source of the cough.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So there are times when we should be concerned, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like when it's not just like, okay, we can deal with this at home.
Yeah.
She mentioned dyspnea.
Right.
Which just means difficulty breathing.
Exactly.
But that can be a really critical signal that something is wrong.
Yes, very much so.
So what are some things that we should look for?
So things like if you see your dog taking rapid, shallow breaths.
Okay.
Or they're really struggling to draw in air.
Okay.
Or you hear unusual noises while they're breathing.
Okay.
Those are all signs of respiratory distress.
So if their breathing seems off,
yeah,
don't mess around, go to the vet.
Exactly.
Okay.
And she also talks about 2 tests that she uses in her clinic.
Okay.
The palpation test and the tracheal reflex test.
Those are some big words.
Yeah, don't worry. You don't need to remember those.
Okay.
But basically what these tests are for is determining if there's anything clogging up their airways.
Okay. So it's kind of like when the doctor listens to your lungs.
Exactly.
They're checking for anything weird.
Yep.
So.
Just to see if everything's clear.
So let's say we've ruled out anything super serious.
Right.
Our dog, it seems like, okay, they're breathing fine, but they still have this cough.
Right.
What are some things that we can do at home to make them feel better?
Well, I mean, number one, you want to keep them comfortable.
Okay.
So cold air can really irritate the airways.
Oh, right.
So if your pup has a short coat, you might want to consider a sweater or a jacket.
Okay.
Especially when it's chilly out.
Like we bundle up when we're sick.
Right. And then rest is also super important for dogs with coughs. Just like it is for us when we're under the weather. So keeping exercise really light.
Okay.
And creating a calm environment is really going to help them recover.
It's like the chicken noodle soup equivalent.
Exactly.
For dogs, just rest.
Exactly.
Okay.
Lots of cuddles.
Yeah. And I was really glad to hear her say, don't give your dog human medication.
Oh, absolutely.
Like what we would take for a cough is not okay for dogs.
No, it can be really dangerous.
Yeah.
Even toxic for them.
Wow.
So always consult your vet for safe and effective treatment options for your dog.
Did you know that giving your dog too much water at once
Oh, yeah.
can trigger coughing?
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
It's true.
Really?
Yeah, especially after meals.
Okay.
So you know, while hydration's important,
Right.
it's best to kind of give it to them in smaller amounts.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Little sips here and there.
So we've talked about what to do if your dog's coughing.
Right.
Some things we can do at home to make them more comfortable.
Right.
But what about addressing like the root cause?
Well, that's really the key here, isn't it?
Right.
You know, treating the cough is just one piece of the puzzle.
Okay.
The real goal is to identify and treat the underlying cause,
Right.
which could be anything from an infection to allergies.
Yeah.
Who knows?
So even if we're doing all the right things,
Right.
a trip to the vet is still a good idea.
Yeah. You really, you know, you can try to manage the symptoms at home,
Okay.
but ultimately you need a vet to determine what's really going on.
Gotcha.
Is it an infection? Is it inflammation? Is it allergies?
Right.
Could be a million things.
Are there things that we can do
Sure.
to kind of support their immune system in the meantime?
Absolutely.
Like, you know, I'm thinking vitamins,
Yeah.
healthy diet.
Yeah. So focusing on a balanced diet
Okay.
is always a good idea.
Okay.
You know, and potentially even incorporating some immune boosting foods.
Oh, okay. Like what?
You know, like blueberries, oranges, things that are packed with antioxidants and vitamins.
Okay.
Vitamin C supplements can also be really beneficial.
Oh, interesting.
Just like us, you know, a healthy diet can go a long way
Right.
in helping them fight off whatever's causing the cough.
So it's all about, you know, kind of boosting their immune system so they can heal themselves.
Exactly. Give them all the tools they need to get better.
So we've talked about the different types of coughs.
Right.
We've talked about, you know, when to really be concerned,
Yeah.
some things we can do at home.
Right.
But really what I'm hearing is like having a good relationship with your vet
Yes.
is super important.
It is. It's about finding that balance
Okay.
between being informed pet owners,
Right.
but also knowing when it's time to call in the professionals.
Yeah.
Because we're not experts.
Yeah.
We can do our best,
Right.
but ultimately they're the ones with the medical training.
Have you ever wondered how vets actually figure out
Oh, yeah.
if there's something stuck in a dog's airway? Like,
Yeah.
how do they do that?
Right. Because we can't ask them, right? We can't be like, hey, is there something caught in your throat?
She mentioned these two tests.
She did.
I have to admit, I didn't totally understand.
Okay, well, this is really interesting. Yeah. She actually shows you how to do them.
Oh, cool.
It's called the palpation test
Okay.
and the tracheal reflex test.
Okay.
So the palpation test is basically, imagine gently feeling your dog's throat and chest area. You're just feeling for any abnormalities, you know, any areas of sensitivity.
Okay.
And then the tracheal reflex test involves
Yeah.
a light touch on the trachea to see if it triggers a cough.
Okay, so they're checking for like discomfort or blockage.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
And she points out that, you know, in a healthy dog, they shouldn't really react much to these tests.
Okay.
But if there is inflammation or mucus buildup, you know, these tests can help pinpoint
Okay.
the location and the severity of the issue.
It's really amazing what vets can figure out
I know, it's incredible.
by touch,
Yeah.
you know?
It's like a superpower.
I think one of the things that I really took away from this video is
Yeah.
trust your gut.
Yeah.
Like, you know your dog better than anyone.
You really do, and that's
Yeah.
so important. I mean,
Yeah.
she really emphasizes that in the video.
She does.
And you know, so, you know, we've given you all this information, but it's important to remember that every dog is an individual.
Right.
And so what might be nothing for one dog
Right.
could be a sign of something more serious for another.
Exactly.
So, you know, you can't replace the expertise of a vet
Right.
when it comes to something as important as our dog's health.
I agree. And I think this has been a really good reminder of that.
Yeah,
Like, I feel much more informed now about what to look for if my dog is coughing.
yeah,
But I also know that, you know, I'm not the expert.
right.
And I need to, you know, rely on my vet for guidance.
Exactly. We can only do so much at home.
Right.
And sometimes you just got to call in the professionals.
Well, this has been a really great deep dive.
Yeah.
I've learned a ton.
Me too.
I hope our listeners have too.
I hope so.
And yeah, until next time, keep those tails wagging.
Thank you for your watching. If you find this video is helpful to you, please share it with your family and friends. Leave us a like and subscribe to our channel. And turn on the bell, that way you don't miss every single one of our videos. So that's for today's video. See you next time.